Welcome to the show, everybody. Gather round. I'm so glad to have you here. Thank you for sharing your eyeballs and your time with me. Also, I haven't said this at the top in a long time, but I really do mean it. Welcome, trolls. There's some new ones. They are not necessarily from the old-fashioned group, the maggots that we usually deal with. They're lovingly spread across love you, Hal, in Atlantic City. Congratulations on your 35th anniversary, Robert. Oh, yeah, that I have not said hello and welcome to the trolls and thanked them recently for, by the way, us crossing that 38,000 subscription Rubicon that seemed to be so far in the distance and yet passed so quickly. We're already at 38,125. Welcome to the 125 people in the last 48 hours who've subscribed. You can do it. You can help. You can remind everybody on Twitter right now to subscribe to the show. It doesn't even mean they have to watch. I'm not asking them to turn on the notification bell. That's rude. I'm not going to do it. You're going to come here when you can and when you want to break from the doomsayers and the chicken littles that are out there, and you want to hear a real fact check happen live on clips I have not previously watched, because you want to marvel at the intellect and comedy that is available to you in this. I don't spend all morning. I spend all morning educating myself and spending time with my family. And that is what brings you the show. I don't tee up stuff to make me look smarter than I am by setting traps in these videos. Like, I'll put this one up because I just researched this and I found the thing that... No. I take the talking points as they come. And again, I do not cut these clips out. I did not choose to take this 7 minutes and 16 seconds out of Laura Ingraham's show and put it on a YouTube page and call it "This is an Emergency." I didn't do that. I did not do that. This person did that. This Laura Ingraham person, who we've seen a couple times. 119,566 people have seen it on their 9.7 million subscribers. Now, that number has gone up a couple of million recently. And there's no real reason why, other than I think they were in sort of the ballpark of some of the other YouTube channels. So they just decided to buy a couple of million just to keep them in a different stratosphere, I suppose. We'll find out. But we have to go with this clip first, of course, because it's an emergency. You know how I know? It's titled "This is an Emergency," and the lady is smiling. I think she's smiling because she's in D.C. and it's a nice place to be. Of course, the all-seeing eye is staring at her right now. I wouldn't be paranoid at all if I was her. Yes, it is. Michael Beaver in our chat says bots. Yes, that's what you do. Although I will say some of the purchases, as far as subscriptions and views, are these like Indian watch farms, which are actual people or one person, and they have a row of phones. I shit you not. And they just put on the video and they let it play on the phone. And then they put on the video and they let it play on the phone. And then they do it again. And they're just rows and rows of these phones. And they just they can add in a couple of hours. They literally have to physically do it because somebody has to walk over and hit rewind and play on these things. And they hold on. Let me see if I can show you this shit because it's fairly funny. Indian YouTube watch farms. I think they images. Let's see. If YouTube views. Yeah, maybe that's it. See how I want to see if they have a picture of it, because the first time I saw a picture of it, I was like, "Holy shit!" I got to look at images, monetization, YouTube charts, views, statistics. Okay, rows of phones. Maybe I'll find it that way. This happened. Okay, I'll have to look it up at another time because I had this picture in my thing a while back. Let's see. YouTube. Yeah, it's not gonna. I don't know what the search term would be on it because I came across it in an actual story. You guys know what I'm talking about. But it's basically, those like sales racks for magazines or that just slightly lean. And then they're like these little A-frame things that they can sit in stores, the real cheap ones. They just have a building full of those things with just like phone, and they're all stuck to chargers. And it's like, and this is not a slight on the people who are doing this or whatever, but it's the idiot version of a crypto farm. Where they have a bunch of computers mining crypto. It's basically the same. It's like the Five Below version of a crypto mining facility. But the irony is it probably uses, click farms. Yeah, maybe that's, hold on. Is that the Indian click farms? Let's see if I can get a, good one. Thank you. Everything you know about click farms. Here it is. This is a Chinese one though, I think, but still, you'll get the point. Look at this. Tick, 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 tick. Look at this. We're the most popular thing in the world. There's a click farm. Look at that shit. Right? Look at these things. They just roll them up. They're all plugged in. They all have numbers, for fuck's sake. So, I mean, I'm sure they're on unlimited data plans, or they probably hook them all up to my guess, they hook them all up to the Wi-Fi in some place so that they only have to pay one fee for the data. And then they just, let's see, the like economy. Who are behind the illicit click farms shaping your social media feeds? Yeah, and then this shit right here. These are the big click farms. This is where they have to use a desktop to do it. Look at this. Yeah, we just run this out of our house. It's a startup. It's like a click Etsy. Yeah, right. Well, and by the way, welcome to Truth Social is all of a sudden doing amazing. I hope someone, by the way, if you're at one of these click farms and you're watching my show right now, I love you and I appreciate you because you're doing it for free. That's lovely. So anyways, I find, so whenever a channel goes up like 1 million in a day, and it's not like Mr. Beast or some shit where they have 99 million, and so mathematically it makes sense that they go up that percentage. All right, so let's see. I'm sorry, this is an emergency. I've been fooling around long enough. Laura Ingraham wants to tell us about an emergency.
Redefining.
Oh, hold on. I'm not even plugged in. I don't need to hear this. Redefining failure.
Failure.
That's how. This is the title. This is the angle. Okay.
That's the focus.
That's the focus of this angle. Okay, is that quiet to you or is it to me?
Tonight's angle. Today was one of the worst days the Biden administration has had since its inauguration.
No amount of spin can obscure their failure. I mean, basically, what did the jobs report come out and say they have 1 million jobs last month?
Now,
Dems in disarray.
Two things have now become undeniable for everybody but slavish Biden apologists.
That would be me, I suppose. Yeah. Also, well, we'll see. Okay, hold on.
Number one, Americans are getting poorer.
Oh, dear God. What did the Dow crash? Hold on 1 second. Dow, I know the 315 points today. All right. Let's actually, wage increases, U.S. Let's see. Americans are getting poorer. Okay. Let's see. I gotta see when this is. When was this? Updated 3 hours ago. Tight U.S. labor market keeps upward pressure on wages. Inflation heats up. Uh-oh. The inflation is heating up. Wages increase. So consumer spending. Oh, sorry. 1 second. Consumer employment cost index increased 1.3% in second quarter. Wages and salaries rose 1.4%, up 5.3% year on year. Consumer spending accelerates 1.1% in June. Core PCE price index jumps 0.6%, up 4.8%. U.S. labor costs increased strongly labor costs. That means the wages people are paid. Increased strongly in the second quarter as tight jobs market boosted wage growth, which could keep inflation elevated, and give the Federal Reserve cover to continue its aggressive interest rate hikes, which, of course, tanked the stock market. Anyways, so, okay, Americans are getting poorer, though. Please continue.
Number 2, America is getting weaker.
America is getting weaker. I went to the gym this morning. I think some of you probably did as well. I feel okay after I pinched that nerve in my neck. My left side was just not nearly as strong as I'd wanted it to be, so I was over-focusing on it today. Maybe that was a mistake. I don't think I pulled anything. I'm going okay. I think I'll be fine, but I appreciate your worry. Laura Ingraham.
Yet the White House, of course, is trying to spin gold out of goose poop.
Well, I'm going to trust the science on that one. I'm going to have to.
After they spent all week trying to redefine the term recession, the GDP.
Oh, they did? Or did a bunch of people recognize that we're not technically entering a recession because we don't have monetary inflation?
Number came out and
Biden's America defined as, quote, ugly reality.
naturally.
By the way, I would define Sri Lanka as ugly reality. I would define America's ugliness, even at its worst, as homely, but still charming.
It's worse than expected.
Additionally, 2 successive quarters of negative economic growth has been deemed.
Right. This, by the way, I've seen this loop like 6 times today. This is what they keep repeating, because normally the standards that make us into a recession would affect the monetary supply, the bond market, the bond yield, all these other things, but it isn't. Therefore, that's why they're like, well, technically this should mean we're in a recession, but we're not, because this is still happening.
A recession. And confirmation of that ugly reality came today.
Looking back on this, we probably may say,
oh, that ugly reality came from Anderson Cooper. Thanks, Anderson.
That, the U.S. descended into a recession starting around the middle of this year.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. I have to. Let's see. We'll do this one, and then open this one, and then Let's see, open that. Okay, so here we go. Let's see. This is Forbes, the big lefty publication Forbes. Face it, Trump is a recession president now. No, this is not an MSNBC, CNN, New York Times, WAPO hit job on the president. The U.S. is not in a recession, at least not yet. But to anyone who has seen the reaction of the markets over the last 8 days, a wild Six Flags Superman roller coaster ride up and then down and hard and fast. Wall Street is seriously considering that possibility. By the way, we hit then we back up. Trump versus the Obama economy in 16 charts. Jobs gains and losses. Average monthly gains. Ouch. Here's Obama entering in. This is after the Great Recession that we all went through. And look at that. Look at that. That was pretty bad. And then Obama institutes some policies in his first year as president and wump, carries it through. And then, of course, 2016, nobody knows what the fuck is going on, business in it. And then it taper. So Trump's already losing jobs. The last year of Obama, 195,000 jobs added. Last year, next year on Trump, 176. Then he went to 193 and then down to 178. That's 2019. Then 2020 hit. Shit the bed. Economic growth. Well, it's got to be, let's see. U.S. economic growth. Here we go. Oh. Here's Obama coming out of this is obviously stagger stop through here. 3.1 and 2.6 are his high points in this. 2.5. There's that Trump hitting a 3 once and 2322 the rest of the time. And then, of course, shit the bed. And then U.S. unemployment, of course. Here's the labor market, the unemployment. Whap! Here's where Obama takes over, and we're tapering it down. And look at that. Look at that line. Do you notice a consistent straight line? As a matter of fact, if anything, is a little bubble right when Trump gets in, and then it almost evens out. It doesn't act. It continues down, but not at this rate. It sort of starts to even out a little bit, and then pa-pow! Black unemployment rate. There we go. Here's Obama. It spiked up with everything, and again, down here, there we go. And it's on the same arc. Look at this. Same arc keeps there, because those programs were more specific than the general populace. And then shit the bed. Middle class income. Let's see. Here we go. 2018. This is 2008. And then we wind down here, because this is all people's losses. Whether they had investments and stuff, everything had been ruined in that part, and it took longer to stabilize those kind of things and get those middle-class jobs back, and then boink, 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 and then they start climbing again to 2018, and then they shit the bed. U.S. stock market, look at this. This is normal rise. There you go. Trump enters right here. There you go. And then jag. Look at this thing. What is this? I mean, we know this is 2020. There's Trump. This is 2020. Everybody knows it's 2020 when they see it in a chart. The fuck is that? What is that, Trump people? Food stamps. People on food stamps. Row. There you go. 2009, Obama's coming in. There's dealing with people. This is the same thing with middle class. We're middle class people on food stamps for the first time in a long time. That evened out or whatever. And then they start paying. And then look at this. Right? 2019, here they are. And then they pick right back up again. Of course, he was trying to deny as many people. There were actually more people on food stamps in the first year of the Biden administration for about 6 months than there were here, because it tapered up, and then people got back to their jobs. Manufacturing. Ooh, there you go. Here's where we were. By the way, we should be. See this arc right here? We should be like here, and if it wasn't for those credit default swap fuckers, we would have hit this drop from here, same amount of drop, and would have ended up about here. U.S. home prices, of course, racked right up because of the number of corporations buying houses. And then U.S. government debt. Boing, because this is 2021 is his fiscal budget still playing out all the way to November of last year, and that's pretty rough in the first year. And by the way, here's 2009. This is 2008, and then everything takes a shit, and then we get up here, and it kind of stabilizes, like you're on a ready track. And then what is this guy? What's this in 2019? What's this? So this is 7, 7.2, 7.3, 7.2, 7.6, 7.6, 7.7. And then like right around Trump, here you go, 26 into 27, 76, 77, 79, 98, 104. That's $1 trillion extra in the budget. Consumer confidence was terrible when Obama took in. Gee, I wonder why. And here's the Obama presidency and what it does for consumer confidence. There you go. And then Trump takes over, and then, I don't know. By the way, again, this was jagged. It's all over the place. And consumer confidence is whatever. But it's emotional more than it's material in some ways, except when you have these really hard hits, like, but even still, like, it should have jagged down here, and in a bigger chart, you would have seen something probably in the median around this zone, through here. But nope. All right. Wages. There we go. Everything because of this is why the middle class took longer to be affected, because like the jobs crapped out and then the wages, slowly recovered over time. This is that middle class chart that you saw. That's the same thing. That's what charts it back up, and then they start moving, and then okay, we're out of it, and then. And by the way, Biden's up 5.5% in a year and a half. Gas prices. Look at that. And we've done this before. Here's $4. Here's the $2.15. Look, it was already down to $1.89 because nobody could go anywhere. Americans with health insurance. Boy, Obamacare sure helped with things until they started to hamstring it. Business investment. Owie. Here's where Obama gets to come in right at the middle. Look at that. Look what Obama had to work with. Look at business investment. Christ almighty. And then, I don't know if I feel like, okay, Bob, like that's pretty much, it jags around like this all the time. Like quarterly growth, in non-residential business fixed investment, right? So, but still, like, look at Obama's numbers in these things. Like, there's definitely rocky roads, but he's getting some solid numbers. Meanwhile, Trump medians out about like Obama's smallest peak, and then Look at the interesting thing isn't 2020, isn't this quarter 2 2020. The interesting thing is this right here, the 2019 look. So anyway, there's one other thing. Hold on one second. Trump denies massive recession even as his top economic advisor warns of terrible economic numbers. Kudlow said he was caught off guard by the speed and its impact of the virus. This is April 3rd, 2020. Was he? It's going to get worse in the weeks ahead. There's no question about it, Larry Kudlow said. We have not seen the worst of it. I don't want to sugarcoat it. That was nice of him. Kudlow declined to offer a numerical figure. The numbers are going to come in very badly. They're going to look terrible in the weeks ahead. Okay.
To hear from the president. It's coming out, obviously, because he knows there was bad news this morning.
Remember, getting you used to living with less is their policy.
Oh, good. All right. Less gas needed to drive your car. Less toxins in your water and air. Less reliance on foreign sources of energy.
But they also know that the R word hurts them politically, so they just ignore the numbers.
Republican? Oops.
Biden may be COVID-free, but today he was also fact-free.
So I get what you're saying. Facts are a disease. I understand. It's interesting you would take that stance, and that's not at all surprising to any of us.
Let me just give you what the facts are in terms of the state of the economy. Businesses are investing in America at record rates. We have a record job market of record unemployment. This is powering the strongest rebound in American manufacturing. That doesn't sound like a recession to me. Thank you very much.
You never see him walk faster than when he's...
43% of investors say they're too nervous to get into markets right now. Right now? Right now. News just came out today. It's bad news. We might be in a recession, but now we can agree on a recession. This is, look, you can tell by the title of this article that right now, right now, May 10th. Shut the fuck up. Why? Don't even use it. You can't find a fucking headline about that. You had to go back to May 10th. Christ almighty. Right now in big, oh God, we had to highlight it so you'd notice which part you're supposed to. Don't look at the CNBC part. Don't look at the May 10th part. Hold on one second. Do we dare go back? Okay, hold on. CNBC, 43% investors are say okay. Yeah, here it is. Oh, you're going to love this. I love this. Okay, hang on. This is the CNBC article. 43% of investors say they're too nervous to get into markets right now. Wait. Does anybody think not only does that not include the context of the article, but does anybody think that's even the whole headline? I can't. What am I? You can't make my job this easy. For Christ's sakes. Look at this. 43% of investors say they're too nervous to get into markets right now. Here's why they should invest anyway. That's the fucking title. It's fucking, you had to go all the way back to May for half of a fucking headline. What? The stock market has been off to a rough start this year. Well, it's back by now. And by the way, you want to know why they, let's see, why they have to go back to fucking May? Let's see, 1 month, 6 months. Here's why. This is the stock market from earlier this year. It's down 6 points from the beginning of the year because of the war. It's up. Here's, this is basically the beginning of the war and rocky start. And then they went back in and blah, blah, blah. Here's May 10th. This is right about here. May 10th, 32,160.74. They're nervous about getting in. Why would they be nervous? Well, because they're looking at shit and it looks like it's going down. And they're right. It did go down. It absolutely went down. But it's almost exactly back. It's higher than it was on May 10th. There it is. 32, motherfucker, stop it. 32,160.74. That's May 10th. That's the day of this article. Shit. And then today, 32,845.13. It went through the dip and it's on its way back up. That's why. Stock market's been off to a rough start this year. The S&P index is currently down more than 16% year to date. That sparked worry for some investors. Some 43% said they're too nervous to invest in the market right now, according to Allianz Life's quarterly market perception study, an online survey of more than 1,000 adults conducted in March. So March 32,817. And then, by the way, it went up after that for a little bit. All right. That's nearly a 10% increase from the previous quarter. In addition, more than half of respondents worry about the market crash. 81% expect volatility continue in the market this year. Gee, it's not like there's a fucking war going on and the Chinese economy is collapsing. I wonder why you would think there's volatility. People don't like uncertainty when it comes to finances, which is why the Fed is raising by 75 basis points and why the fucking Fed doesn't care. That's why the Fed went, fuck it, just left it. Just read, we're still doing 75 basis points. Matter of fact, we might do it again later this fall. Count on it. There's nearly 10%. Okay, people don't like uncertainty, blah, blah, blah. Dollar cost averaging. If you're investing for retirement, you should continue to put the same amount into markets or dollar cost average your investment. You have to be able to do that on the up and the down. That's literally how you compound. CFP, president of Bonafide Real Estate, Bonafide Wealth in New York. That's how you win the game. That's the game. Continuing to buy where markets fall is also where investors can find opportunities for stocks poised to increase. He said, motherfucker. And May 10th. May fucking 10th.
Leaving the press. Now,
and also, by the way,
you never see him walk faster than when he's leaving the press. Now, literally everything you just heard him say is a lie.
No, it isn't.
Businesses are reducing their investments. More Americans have entirely given up looking for work and
yeah, that's because their partner, in a lot of cases, or their family member, if they're a younger person, is making enough to sustain them now.
Pay raises are nowhere near keeping up with inflation.
Hold on. What's this one? July 8th. More Americans gave up on working in June. Well, let's take a look at this one then. They're highlighting it for us. Business. I can type. Insider. More Americans gave up working in June. Let's give it a shot. More gave up on working in June. I have to, it's so easy. It gets almost annoying. More Americans gave up on working in June, and it shows that not everyone, no thanks, is finding the job they want. This is a story about how the job market has more openings than people. In June, the country added 372,000 jobs, more than the economists had estimated. That means that the labor market is still booming. But the number of workers actively looking for work or working also dropped in June. The economic recovery chugged along in June with a still booming job market, but that doesn't mean everyone in the country was working. The latest data released from the Bureau of Labor Statistics showed that the U.S. added 372,000 jobs in June, handily beating economists' estimate for 268,000 new payrolls. But even as the unemployment rate stayed low as 3.6 for the fourth consecutive month, and job growth boomed across industries, some workers were giving up on work altogether and left the labor force. In June, the labor force participation rate, which measures the number of people who were working or actively looking for work, dipped. The drop is disappointing, but it does take us back to levels that we saw just a few months ago. It's a setback, but I think the overall trend for the course of the recovery has still been improving labor force participation. Or because you're a younger person living at home, and you're in college, you decided to go to summer school while you lived at your parents' house, and that percentage alone would accommodate that number. Because you didn't have to, because your parents were making a little bit more. Hopefully this is a 1-month aberration for both overall workers and prime age, and we go back to a situation where that's picking up, which we did. ZipRecruiter said the labor force participation decline he's seen in the Bureau's household survey could be a 1-month blip, but isn't too worried about it. She believes we will see people come back to the labor force. There are signs in our marketplace that participation is increasing. We're seeing job seekers come back. We're also seeing employers appear not to face quite the same challenge attracting candidates as they did in the past. Pollock said that ZipRecruiter surveys how inflation is a large reason, added that ZipRecruiter surveys show inflation is a large reason people are returning to work because it's swallowing up their savings, and that older workers in particular are feeling the pressure to come back to work because of inflation. The prime age employment population ratio, which is measured by the share of population ages 25 to 54 that has a job, also dropped in June. This shows one of the contradictions at heart of the current job market. Hiring and economic recovery is indeed on the fast track to full recovery, but some workers are still getting left behind or opting out altogether. Bunker said that it would be good to see the prime age employment population ratio pick up too, which he said was sort of flatlined. I would like to see that number start to grow more quickly. That's definitely something you keep an eye on in reports in the months ahead. By the way, a lot of people in the mid-level got severances and didn't have to go back to work immediately, lived on even the UI and the other stuff last year, and that money is not used up yet. And or their partner saying, wait for the good job. You can get it this fall. We're not in any rush. Fucking hell. Let's see what the
work and pay raises are no.
Inflation inflicts impossible choices on middle Americans. Rising wages can't keep up with inflation. That's what is it? Lowercase and they made it uppercase. Okay. Let's look at that one. Bloomberg. Inflation inflicts impossible. This is July 15th. Here we go. Get that out of the way. Inflation inflicts impossible choices on the middle class. Consumer prices are skyrocketing at fastest pace since 1981. Inflation pressure persists for basic items, including shelter. Middle class Americans whose rising wages can't keep up with inflation, that's where they are facing tough choices between basic needs. Even for the more fortunate ones, like Zoylene Velasquez, making ends meet is becoming increasingly difficult. The single mother in Westfield, Massachusetts is now earning $28 an hour in her healthcare job. That's up 12% from earlier in the pandemic, but says her grocery bill has more than doubled over the last year, and summer camp fees for her 2 young kids have quadrupled. These are real costs, but come on. Also, did she? Yeah, okay. The 29-year-old cut out her daily coffee at Dunkin' Donuts and put a moratorium on lunches out at restaurants. Then she canceled her cable and opted for a cheaper home security system to shave off about $500 a month. Sometimes she has to pick up more shifts at work, leaving her less time to spend with her kids. It's those type of choices that are making many Americans feel like all the debate over whether a recession is coming or going or not misses the point. The economy isn't working for them now. In June, food prices at grocery stores in June jumped more than 12% from the same time last year, the biggest advance in a generation. Over the same period, gas prices were up 40%. That's the main cause of it. Also, the fastest pace in more than 4 decades, and rent accelerated at the fastest rate since 1986 in just 1 month. By the way, the mansion deal that just got passed is going to show up as an expenditure. People are going to think about this, even though the money that goes out from it won't start until next year, really. It's fascinating that as far as public perception goes, that money's they're going to sign that deal, and then it's going to be like the Republicans are freaking out the amount of spending and how it's going to trigger more inflation. But it won't even impact the economy until next year. While they're saying that, gas prices are going to continue to go down.
Nowhere near keeping up with inflation.
Yes, they are. They're near keeping up with inflation. By the way, now the gas prices are coming down. That is shaving off the biggest chunk of it.
So the media, if we had a media,
Biden's mission accomplished moment, taking flamethrower to the U.S. economy. A flamethrower at 3.6% unemployment, at the fastest reshoring of factories in the history of the United States of America. Flamethrower.
They should be asking Biden why his views on the U.S. economy are so much rosier than the IMF's. Under Trump, we had the strongest economy of the G7, remember?
Right. Hold on one second. This is IMF's GDP production. Oh, okay. The projections for this year, right?
And now we're tied with France in 4th place.
France has the strongest, most insular economy of all the European countries. It is and the reason their growth moderates the way it does is because it relies less on other European countries than any of the other European countries.
With a 2.3% GDP, France, just that is embarrassing.
Why?
And the projections get even worse for 2023. We drop to 1% GDP.
Germany's at 0.8%, Italy's at 0.7%, United Kingdom's 0.5%, Canada's at 1.8%. That socialist dystopia. Also, hang on for a second. The reason the Japanese economy's growth next year will be that hold on. The reason Japan will have 1.7 is because, let's see. I have to find the Australian large economic dialogue. First of all, we're tied together. GDP growth forecast. This is their projection for themselves. They projected themselves at 2%. And the IMF is pointing downwards for theirs. Hold on, let me make sure this one's the up to date. It's July 26th. Yep. The yen, and the other reason is because it's year over year, right? We have year over year 1% because we're almost at max growth at 3.6% unemployment, considering supply chain changes that are going to take time. Let me find this. The yen. Find the news on this. Yeah, here you go. This, yeah, it's about the same time she's saying this. So there you go. Yen to remain weaker than key 130 per dollar level at year end. The reason that their percentage is higher is because their mean is so much lower.
Now the
by the way, hold on. Let's see. I want to do one thing before we move on. Now they didn't. I don't know why she doesn't put this in there. Hold on. I am Africa. Here's why. Hold on. This is. Yeah, here you go. Here's why they're putting this in this context. Let me show you this. IMF revises global growth forecasts downward. Global growth forecast downward. World consumer prices expected to rise 8.3% this year and 5.7% next year, says International Monetary Fund. And this is, let me see. Here you go. Growth is expected to moderate in 2023 to 2.9%, down 0.7% from April's projection. Downgrades for the world's two largest economies, China and the U.S., as well as for India, are driving the downward revision to global growth during the two-year period. The U.S. economy is expected to grow 2.3% in 2022 and 1% in 2023, revised down by 1.4% and 1.3% respectively. This was due to disappointing growth in the first two quarters with weak private consumption and the erosion of household purchasing power and the expected impact of steeper tightening monetary policy. They're expecting that the Fed's 75 basis point jumps over the next little bit will tighten monetary policy. So far, it has not. The IMF lowered its growth projections for China by 1.1 percentage points and 0.5 percentage points respectively in 2022 and 2023, driven by extended lockdowns as the deepening real estate crisis. This is their highlight, not mine. China's GDP is now foreseen to rise by 3.3% this year and 4.6% next year. They need 5% just to achieve parity because they have so many fucking people. They are underwater. This is the equivalent of our growth being -2, a 2% contraction.
IMF reports that the risks are overwhelmingly tilted to the downside. That's a quote.
For the whole planet.
And yet listen really closely as Biden's crew again try to redefine failure.
So rough. The transition is not by mistake. This is where we get into, it's probably the Great Reset.
Now, there's no doubt we expect growth to be slower than last year, but that's consistent with the transition to a stable, steady growth.
What we're seeing is that we are in a transition. We had this strong economic growth, and now what we're seeing is a transition into stable and steady.
By the way, this is Volcker language. Anybody who's like over the years, you'll probably you're used to hearing this phrase, which is steady, stable growth. That happened. They talked about that after 2008. They talked about it in 1982. They talked about it after the .com crash.
Growth.
This report indicates an economy that is transitioning to more steady, sustainable growth.
Right. And by the way, does anybody remember like a year and a half ago when everybody was like 2 years even ago now, when they were like, all the stocks and real estate are all overvalued. They're ready for a connection. We're doomed to right. Like, remember that? Where there has to be a correction. That's what the thing. Okay, that's because everything was overvalued, worth too much, and it's going to drop down to kind of normal levels, and then it'll start rising again based on genuine investment.
More like transitioning.
And by the way, Biden has tested negative and he is back to working in the White House. He is wearing a mask when he's around other people for 10 days per CDC guidance in the government. It's different. They're just extra cautious.
To permanent decline, which is what they want.
They lie about the economy while Americans head to food banks. Holy shit. Trump sold the largest order of beef, corn, soybeans, and pork in America's history to the Chinese when Americans were literally in drive-through food lines.
Use less, travel less, prosper less.
Weird. Hold on one second. July 4th travel stats 2022. It's fine. The 4th of July travel survey, the vacationer. This is July 13th. There you go. 4th of July travel survey 2022, 55% plus 143 million to travel. 143 million people traveled. We are a fucking country of 340 million people. 50% say gas prices affected plans. 52% plus still did a road trip. That's not just flying. That's the road trip. 41% say a barbecue is most likely. That's true all the time. Summer 2022 survey indicated 208 million Americans. Summer travels. There you go. This is the summer. This is instead of just the one weekend. Summer travel survey 2022. This is from July 20th, updated the 20th. Nearly 81% to travel, 42% to travel more than last summer. Nearly 51% to fly on a plane, 80% to road trip. That's gas prices right there, ladies and gentlemen. 80% took a road trip. Recently, and by the way, I did both this summer with my kid. We drove from Cleveland to down to my dad's house, and we flew in and then flew out of Cincinnati to come that airport. Recently published our Russia-Ukraine conflict travel survey. The survey indicated that nearly 40% of Americans said they were reconsidering their 2022 travel plans because of the invasion. That's European travel plans. Also, it showed 36% of people felt less safe traveling now. However, nearly 65% of all Americans said they would be willing to suffer an inconvenience, such as paying more or more flight layovers to reach their destination. People are determined to vacation this year with travel nearly recovered from COVID. We wonder how many people might travel this year despite concerns. There you go. There you go. Do you plan on traveling? 19% say no. 36% say yes once. 44% say yes more than once. Where will you travel? I won't travel this summer. 19%. Same fucking people. 60% say domestically. 6.66%. Dun, dun, dun. Internationally only. By the way, what a good time to trigger a $6.66 super chat if you want to support the show in any possible way. Michelle Crocker, thank you so much for the super chat. Treva, thank you so much. Michelle, again, oh my gosh. Bloomberg News said that we're not quite in a recession. I'm confused now. Yeah, that's the point, is that the standards don't match because we're not experiencing monetary inflation. The CPI index raises year over year from when COVID shut everything the fuck down. There were supply chain crises. That's what's causing it. And then now we're moving factories out of another country. It is not the same fucking thing. 111, we're at 1653. I think, 1111 are watching. Oh, make a wish. That's good. Okay. They lie about the economy while Americans head to food banks. People are mostly watching Laura Ingraham in food banks. Of course, she didn't head to food banks. She got a new spray tan and a much shinier lip gloss. She's making me kind of self-conscious. I feel like I should. Still not enough. No, I'm going to need something with some Vaseline or some of that stuff that diamond stuff they spray on skillets.
Expect less. Biden's propagandists think Americans are stupid, but they are not.
Well, I mean, most aren't. I mean, obviously, your viewers are in a special breed.
No, is that Americans hate this economy, right? The CNN poll out recently found that 64% of Americans believe the U.S. economy is currently in a recession.
That doesn't mean it is.
Remember, this is only going to get worse under Biden's policy.
Okay, just remember that. Project into the future.
And things.
I do need lipstick, it's true. Something that matches my exact skin tone so I can kind of, I do have big, luscious lips. I will say that. And this is without filler. People go to clinics to get lips this big. Hello.
We'll get more, not less expensive.
Bacon lard, that'll work. Thank you so much, Anna. Yeah, I should just have a strip of bacon and just.
Expensive after the spending explosion on that climate crapola.
This is the keen kind of news read that I tune in for.
Meanwhile, things are getting more dangerous on the national security front.
Uh-oh.
Chinese President Xi and Biden spent 2 hours today on the phone. And basically, it looks like China spent the entire time lecturing us and warning Biden. The CCP...
Does it? Based on what? The fact that it was a 2-hour call?
His readout went like this. China firmly opposes separatist moves toward Taiwan independence.
Yeah. Oh, my God. When did this start?
And interference by external forces. The position of the Chinese government and people on the Taiwan question is consistent. Those who play with fire will perish by it. It is hoped that the U.S. will be clear-eyed about this.
By the way, there was a story came out, and I'm sure she heard this, and that's why they've got this ... in here, is that that she said this to Biden, which he fucking well did not. But the idea is that their statement after the fact, where they were like, this is what we said, or this is what we were thinking when we said it. Like, I was going to say it. I was totally going to say it. This is their statement about their intention language wise while that happened. Garbage. By the way, they say that all the time. Who gives a shit?
Now,
hold on. Let's see. This is because Nancy Pelosi is going to China. Hold on. This is 2018. Okay, hold on. I've got to. How do you get this? Yeah, I just get this. Hold on. This is, I don't know what this article is. Playing with fire. Why are Donald Trump and Xi Jinping whipping up nationalist fervor? I'll have to look through this. Like, the phrase has been around for a long time. They say this shit all the time. It's one of their favorite go-tos.
Those who play with fire will perish by it?
Yeah. And Nancy Pelosi is still going to Taiwan. Yeah. I'm sorry. Did Biden cower under the desk when he said it?
Now, journalists, again, if we have any left, should be asking the White House if China accurately captured what was said. And if so...
What the fuck is your job? Have somebody from your show call them. Is that an accurate representation of what was said? You'll either get a comment or you fucking won't.
Press them on why Biden just didn't end the call immediately. They're threatening the Speaker of the House, sir. So Biden looks incredibly weak here.
Well, I mean, let's see. Hold on. Pelosi started her trip today. Pelosi Asia trip. Pelosi Taiwan. Traveled to Asia with possible Taiwan sector bite. Yeah, China. I mean, this is what they're referring to and all these things. There's so many of these articles. She left today. She's going to 4 places. They might do a Taiwan stop. They've been talking about the possibility of it. I think this increases the possibility of it, but we'll see. It's not necessary. It's okay. Japan just sent the same kind of delegate to Taiwan. That's why China is pissed. They had the same conversation with the Japanese and their person came. This is the Pelosi leading delegation to Taiwan visit. Right. This is, I mean, we're gonna see if they actually go. I don't know why John Kerry is up, probably because of climate stuff.
For 2 years, the Biden people have been sucking up to China, and for
we have
what? Because John Kerry thought China was going to help us on the climate change issue.
No.
But of course,
Ambassador Droopy Dog sucked up to China for what?
Communist Party is playing all of them.
What the? This is the angle. This is her opening to her show. I would like you to take a moment, if you might, to compare this to some of the dreck we see on Newsmax or some of the opening statements from, I don't know, from what's in her time slot, Ari Melber, where they discuss about, these kind of issues. Does anybody on MSNBC do like these chyrons like Ambassador Droopy Dog sucked up to China for what? Seriously. I mean, this appeals to the audience.
It doesn't give a rat's you know what about carbon emissions. It doesn't ever feel constrained by the rules-based international order, and it never operates in good faith. Never.
Never. Nothing.
It's a dictatorship, kid.
It is? Oh, you mean China, not him.
Just ask Jack Ma from Alibaba. They just took his multi-billion-dollar company from him. Why? Because they can.
Right, and? That's more of a reminder when they tell you we're basically China right now. No, we're fucking well not.
Big corporations and banks doing business there will ultimately suffer the same fate.
I don't know, tell that to Rupert Murdoch.
It's only a matter of time.
Dun, dun, dun.
So Biden and Xi apparently also talked tariffs. That's the only thing Xi really cares about. Obviously, China wants them removed. Now, this would make China only richer and stronger and American manufacturing weaker. So, of course, Biden's actually thinking about doing it. You can't make this up. This is insane.
All right, let's hear it. Let's see. You can't make this up. Biden will consider anything that makes us weaker, which obviously is if you make and manufacture and design the highest quality computer chips in the world here, that's a mistake, according to Laura.
Unless this is all part of Biden's plan, of course.
Oh, of course it is.
Meaning whoever controls Biden's plan.
Yeah, that's definitely not him. It's Kamala, Oprah. I think it's Oprah.
Now, Biden and the Democrats have put America behind the...
Hang the fuck on. What was that tease?
So, of course, Biden's... And stronger wants them removed. She apparently also talked terrorists. That's the only thing she really...
She only talked terrorists. That's the only thing he cares about. And he wants them removed.
Cares about... Obviously, China wants them removed.
China wants their some terrorists removed. Do we have American terrorists over there?
Now, this would make China only richer and stronger and American manufacturing weaker.
Yeah, what now? Does anybody know what the fuck she's talking about?
That's the only thing Xi really... Only a matter of time. So Biden and Xi apparently also talked terrorists. That's the only thing Xi really cares about.
Tariffs. Jesus Christ.
Obviously, China wants them removed. Now, this would...
It sounds like terrorists. Terrorists. I'm like, fucking say it.
Terrorists, that's the only thing It's only a matter of time.
All right, here we go.
So Biden and Xi apparently also talked terrorists. That's the only...
They talked tariffs. Okay, good. Thanks. Jesus Christ.
The only thing Xi really cares about. Obviously, China wants them removed.
Obviously.
Now, this would make China only richer and stronger and American manufacturing weaker.
Okay, so anybody who selectively removes tariffs would hurt America and benefit China. If you'll recall, Trump's there you go. This is hold on. Whoops, let me click on this. Also, like, we don't sanction foodstuffs from Russia because of the starvation it would cause. Some of the sanctions are talking about, things that, like food prep materials, blah, blah, blah. Stuff that, like, is plastics, like low-res stuff that actually helps with crucial American supply chains until we can fix it.
So, of course, Biden's actually thinking about doing it.
Yeah, he's thinking about doing it. Guys, that's it. He's redefined. Thinking is failure. That's all you need to do. And by the way, just thinking about it, that's a go-ahead to the Chinese. Even if you think about creating tariffs that somehow are limited by, oh, shit. Again, we've been hearing this shit for weeks.
You can't make this up.
You are making this up.
Insane.
You're insane. You are making it up.
Unless this is all part of Biden's plan, of course. Meaning whoever controls Biden's.
Yeah, just not Biden. Like, yeah, the puppet masters who control Biden and also make him the greatest criminal mind of the Dr. Evil of the planet. By the way, I like the Chinese flag, and it's going down. It kind of points to him smiling as the Chinese economy goes down. But sure.
Now, Biden and the Democrats have put America behind the 8 ball here.
Uh-oh.
This is an emergency that requires a radical change in leadership and
an emergency. Someone allegedly thinking about removing some tariffs that were not part of a conversation or may have been as an emergency.
Congress, of course, later on in the White House. If you ever want this country to be strong again,
yeah,
to our families to be prosperous again, your streets to be safe again, we have to get rid of these people.
Yeah. Okay. But here's the only way that this person differs from this person. Here is the distinct difference, because both of them are attacking. I mean, we literally have seen this person attack this guy multiple times in exactly the same way, almost the same fucking description that she gave. But what's the difference between the conclusion that Laura Ingraham comes to at the end of her show? What's the huge leap? The change in tactic.
To be prosperous again, your streets to be safe again, we have to get rid of these people. And that means taking back the Senate. Every seat is critical.
Every seat is critical.
So a vote in Georgia for Raphael Warnock is a vote for decline. A vote for John Fetterman in Pennsylvania is a vote for high energy prices. A vote for Tim Ryan in Ohio is a vote for high food prices.
By the way, I don't know why she's not. Well, I do know why. She's not showing the Republicans that are running, because it's not about who you're voting for. They don't give a fuck who's running in each of these areas. It's who you're voting against.
A vote for Mark Kelly in Arizona is a vote to send
for NASA, for space,
more American jobs overseas.
To space. Why?
None of these people.
Do you think space is a C?
None of them are moderate.
No, all radical psychopaths. Everything is nuts. Manchin's deal, it might as well have been negotiated by AOC.
They're in lockstep with Biden and Schumer. All current or future enablers of this unfolding American tragedy.
Unfolding, I think.
So they can try to redefine decline.
Moderate Dems are like unicorns. They don't exist. So that's also one area where she would also disagree with this person, because obviously I would qualify as a unicorn.
And it's success all they want. But it's not going to work.
No, it's not. Not if you watch the Laura Ingraham show.
Americans like winning too much.
Yeah, we love it. That's why we hired Joe Biden and fired Donald Trump, because he was fucking up our streak.
And today it became clearer than ever that Biden only knows how to lose.
Only knows today. May I? It became increasingly clear that all Biden knows how to do. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on. There's another one on the table, too. So hold on. All Biden knows how to do is lose. Also, this is, I'm going to stretch this out. Why does that not fold? Okay, federal highway. There's a bipartisan infrastructure law. On November 15, 2021, President Biden signed the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. The ILJA, Public Law 11758, also known as the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, into law because it became a law once it became a law. The Bipartisan Infrastructure Law is the largest long-term investment in our infrastructure and economy in our nation's history. All he knows how to do is lose. 3.6 unemployment. Okay, hold on. Biden. Hold on, I'm going to sneeze. There we go. 1 second. There you go. Hold on. Biden reconciliation is strongest bill to cut deficit and lower inflation. Dun, dun, dun. This is him walking away from the press, apparently. My message to Congress is this. This is the strongest bill you can pass to lower inflation, cut the deficit, reduce healthcare costs, tackle the climate crisis all the time while reducing the burdens facing working class and middle class families. They had a deal. The bill mentioned support for climate tax care. Okay, deal. This is by the numbers. Additional $124 billion for enhanced internal revenue service enforcement. Major blow to private equity industry. The agreement calls for another $14 billion to treating so-called carried interest. Let's see. The reversal came just hours after the Senate passed a. This is the part. Hold on. Can I nerd out for just 1 fucking second, Laura? This is fucking ginormous. The CHIPS Act all by itself. Now watch this. Hold on. Biden. Let's see. I want to find the... How
are you?
Good.
So
good. I think we've got everybody here. So over to you to kick us off here.
This is all.
Okay, here I go. Thank you all for joining me today for this important and timely discussion. We're here today to talk about the importance of passing the CHIPS for America Act.
By the way, this is a roundtable he had with like United Auto Workers, the dude from Lockheed Martin. This is from a guy from Westronic. Cumans was there. The UA. And then this was on July 25th. In the middle of this, I want to say, well, it was the next day or whatever. Hold on. Let me find it on Twitter. Let's see. Biden gets an. Hold on. Videos. Whoops. Sorry, I missed type. Yeah. There it is. This is Ken Delanian writing this. This is a big deal. The fact that Congress was able to pass it in a bipartisan fashion in this climate speaks to the strong consensus about the nature of the national security threat, China competitiveness, and the chip bill passes the House, goes to Biden. He was sitting at a meeting and they came up and handed him here it is. No, wait, is that it? I think that's the note that he got. They were like in the middle of this thing. And they were like, came over and said, and basically while he was having another meeting about it and said, here's the, let's see it. It's not in there. They passed him a note saying the House just passed it. All he knows how to do is lose.
And that's the angle.
That is the angle. All he knows how to do is lose. That's why, the largest infrastructure package. The rescue package had more climate stuff in it than every bill signed in the previous 8 years before it. Public transportation is getting the biggest facelift it's seen in our nation's history since the installation of the fucking transcontinental railroads. All I knows how to do is lose. Donald Trump, I suppose. Senate voted 64-33 to approve a $280 billion package meant to spur U.S. chip manufacturing, a major victory for the Biden administration and chip makers. Why it matters. The bill aims to reverse long-term decline in domestic manufacturing computer chips that will go into cars, computers, appliances, and a range of other everyday items. It's actually more the high-tech ones because the everyday, the cheaper ones we get from other places after the pandemic exposed the fragility of the international supply chain. Intel and other chip makers have aggressively lobbied for the subsidy, arguing the U.S. government needs to incentivize chip production on American soil to catch up with other countries because it's expensive and you can't make them cost effective because it's huge. Legislation authorizes but does not fund about $200 billion for scientific research, including $81 billion for National Science Foundation for Technology Directorate, aimed at translating basic research into commercial products made in the U.S. All he does is lose. He's a loser, losing him. He's a loser. He loses. And that's why I couldn't even show any of the Republicans running. I couldn't show when they showed, where are they? Hold on. What is this? Back up 1 second.
A vote for John.
Okay, hold on.
Georgia.
I can't show Herschel Walker, not on my show. I got to show you the black guy to vote against. I'm Laura Ingraham. I can't show you fucking Dr. Oz because all of you will boo your screen. So I have to show you Fetterman just so you know who you don't like. I can't show you, shit, he looks like everybody else. I can't show you J.D. Vance because he's on tape calling Trump a creep.